Good morning again, everyone. Good morning. Great to see you all. Today, I am going to talk about art of being with injury and illness. I'm going to start with reminding all of us to go back and use 4 principles that written on Joel's fundamentals and precepts, and this is one of the foundations that practice that we can go back each time. Let me remind you, 1, 4 principles is attention, commitment, detachment, and surrender. So on that note, I'm going to, so this lovely card is available for everybody to get. Let me know if you want one. And before I start my talk, I wanted to also plug in that Center has wonderful audio files on the website. And in there, Joel's and other teachers have wonderful talk. And time like this, when you wanted to be outside, and soon Center's going to start taking break, and it is a great opportunity for us to stay in, I call it wisdom mode, so we would not slip into going business as usual. And I'm bringing this up because one particular audio file I really love, that I memorized it, CD number 500. It is called Inner Renunciation. So before we do anything, I invite you to listen to Joel's talk on inner renunciation, because it talks about importance of us really ponder and take in our practice inward journey, not outside, which I have been really attached to. I really thought Matt is going to make me happy. I thought that was his job. I thought Center is going to make me happy. I thought that was Joel's magic wand that is going to make me happy. I thought my kids going to be perfect kids like I watch, I see on TV. But that wasn't the case. In that audio, he talks specifically, nothing out there. It's we have to take inward journey inside of us. So it was kind of radical teaching that I thought my career, my family, my love for my family was going to make me happy. But he said, just cut through and say, go inward, go inside. So I highly recommend listening to it and just kind of review what he says, because of course he does it so much better than I do, and he's so entertaining and wonderful. So highly recommend listen to audio CD number 500, Inner Renunciation. Maybe you remember that by now. Today, so I wanted to start by describing art, how Oxford Dictionary it described. As a noun, art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form, such as painting or sculpture, producing work to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. That's the noun. And then the verb is a skill at doing a specified thing, typically one acquired through practice. So that's the art in verb, and I'm going to invite you to use your injury or illness as art project. So those of you who don't know me that well, 2016 I attended a meditation retreat, and it was going to be the center retreat, fall retreat, and it was going to be 9 days of wonderful experience with Joel. Well, that was like my expectation right there, that it changed immediately in the morning. First morning that I start walking towards dining hall, that I slipped and I never got up for months. So instead of going to the meditation retreat, I end up coming home and staying home for many, many months. So I have intimate relationship with injury. And as you can see here, I brought my wonderful buddy that really was partner in my recovery. And so as you can see this is what you call crutch. And it was gray and hard and very much like I'm very disabled. And it really made me feel doomed. And of course, I have to think of how. Well, it doesn't have to be. How can I make it fun to use this? And then somebody, Matt's cousin actually said, oh, my son had to use the crutches for months, and he actually got this pads and really saved his armpit. So that was beginning. And then I discovered there's a whole culture of these kind of equipment. It's like, wow, turquoise, pink, and there's so many varieties, and not only beautiful, it gives me so much more comfort. So it just all started from being curious and being open to whatever arises in my field, which was first, oh, I do not want to use this really gray and boring crutches, and to the adding pad. And then I thought, I want to make it matching. So I put washi paper and make it prettified the way I want. And so having openness and curiosity in your path is one of the key elements I've discovered, addition to practicing four principles. It was, of course, I went through, oh my gosh, I used to think, I kind of envy a little bit, oh, it's so cool that you get to use crutches and you get people's attention. Well, yeah, briefly, but there's so much discomfort that it wasn't cool anymore. That just, boom, flew away immediately. And I realized, oh, wow, that's such an assumption. That was such an assumption. And so I also discovered that in this process, how much I took my hands for granted. It's my foot that I injured, but when I use this, I cannot use my hand. That was like, I never questioned my capacity to do things with my hand. How much you walk and you carry things, like first thing I really noticed was, wow, I can't carry my coffee and my toast at the same time. Very simple, yet, God, it's so annoying, and just, but I was so blessed to have my family to support me through this difficult path. My wonderful husband will bring me my coffee with coconut milk and toast with almond butter and banana on it so I would last longer with the breakfast. He did this every morning. I never had a breakfast in bed until I got injured. And that was it's very simple, but oh my goodness, if you've never done that, I highly recommend doing it for your partner or, whoever you are with. It's such a luxury. It's such a luxury. It's very small, but you feel so cared for and loved. So I'm gonna put this away for now. And so I got pouch. See, I was able to carry my water bottle and my pain medication and my notebook and my phone, and I came up with a solution. Being creative in that sense, open and curious. Okay, what can I do? So that's one of the important element of being, well, not only just being sick and injured, that be curious. Be curious, like, okay, there's more to it. And it's just another example of being curious that yesterday I was on the way to pick my daughter up from art class, and I was slightly later than I wanted to be there. And so I was kind of in a hurry. I was driving, and I just came across a bus just waiting. And I just thought, just get on with it, move on. And just a little dukkha, little suffering there, just a little irritation. And so I just look. I just had a little bit of practice to notice what's going on. I look at the bus, and then look at in front of the bus was this mom with 3 children. She's holding one baby and 2 little kids. And the little girl's doing this because they're running to catch the bus. And the wonderful bus driver was waiting for this family. I mean, instantly my annoyed, aggravation just dissipated right there by just looking. And it was just having the curiosity help me from going off at my aggravation with the bus occupying the whole road. So small things like that is so heart-opening. There's so much opportunity, so much joy that I felt so grateful that bus driver was waiting for those families, especially with mom with 3 kids. I have only 2, and I know how that goes. That was one of the joy that I got to experience, having the curiosity. And the next important thing I feel I learned through this whole injury is practicing transparency. You will not fake it. You will just show everything you got. This is me. I have a scar. I use crutches. I use cane. So this is what I learned from my teacher, Joan Harry Fox, and she talks about threefold transparency. And I'm going to have to read this part because she puts it so nicely. So first, we must stabilize the mind and make friend with it. Make friend with it. Secondly, we open to the mind to life. The whole life within and around us. Then we fearlessly open our heart to the world. She said fearlessly. Let me tell you, she is fearless. She has the eyes, will not miss anything. That was one of the things that I really learned to be fearlessness. Rosh John told us, welcome it inside, no matter how wretched or full of pain it might be. Welcome it. Oh, it's not easy to do, but we learn to do it by showing up for ourselves every day. Get up and showing up. So she continued on saying, us being transparent to ourselves, the world being transparent to us, and us being transparent to the world. So that is a threefold transparency. And I just thought America is the country of confidence. And so everybody is so confident and do things perfectly. That was my assumption there. So it was very different thing for me to learn to be vulnerable and cry and express. And this is different than blaming or resenting, which I do so well. It's in my bone, and I'm learning to just notice that and recognizing it or shutting down. Instead, you share your truth. Tell me your truth. Tell me your truth. What is it going on with you? What's arising in you? That's the phrase that we use a lot in Zen Center when I was in chaplaincy training. And I think it's more accurate to say, what is it arising in you? Because it just moves on. And by being vulnerable and accept this messy human life with open heart, meaning that, yeah, you might judge, you might criticize, you might compare, but you just keep your heart open and keep on going and practicing that you might fail. Well, of course, like I do fail all the time. That's my name, failure. But I learned to get up. I learned to get up and get up and get up, and just move on. That's okay. In Japanese saying, you nanakorobi yaoki. You fell 7 times, that you got up 8 times. So you keep showing up. More you learn to be vulnerable, then your life become a little more simple. Because I'm not faking it. You know me, that occasionally I end up yelling at my kids and get pointed out. They're my very fearless guru in that sense. What happened to you being Buddha? I mean, they're right there. And so, okay, I'm so sorry. I learned to say sorry. My parents never said sorry to me ever, but I realized actually it's very simple and a very loving word. So I wanted to share what Zen Master Dogen said. Enlightenment is intimacy with all things. Enlightenment is intimacy with all things. So all things as in your joy of being under this gorgeous blue skies, June summer day, early summer day, versus the day you discover that maybe you have this skin conditioning that you need to really take care of, or just you had an argument with your spouse. All these things include everything in your practice, and everything becomes part of you. no separation, messy kitchen, my intense ankle pain, look I received from people when I was using a cane. And looking at my one leg being a little skinnier from wearing casts for months and months, and my skin is really floppy because there's no muscle left because I didn't use it for months. I mean, it's like, wow, this is my body. And Zen teacher Sherry Fuber talks about acceptance, and that really stuck in my mind. She said, acceptance doesn't require doing sometimes. And I thought, wow, it's so true. I always assume I have to have some kind of action to go with it. But, well, what's wrong with just accepting inside of you? Okay, this is my reality right now. I just have to wait, or I just need to find something different. It just made a huge difference in this being, especially with limited bodily capacity, because it was so new to me. I was fortunate not to have any kind of serious illness up until this. I mean, how fortunate is that in this modern life? I was able to recognize the gift that I received. It's like, wow, I never really thought grateful for my body, that I only have to experience it this late in my life. And it's very juicy. It's very juicy. When you get older, there's more conditioning, and yeah, you can relate, right?
Yes.
So it's such a wonderful opportunity. Life is so amazing in this way because, see, I've been in practitioners group and going to a Zen center and doing all these spiritual practice. But I really, I'm so stubborn that I really didn't, grok it. I really didn't. I really didn't learn. So that God decided, okay, it's time that I give her like major drama. In the movie of Hiromi, that God had to give me a big drama so I would really go inward journey. I mean, he tried, he helped me meet Matt, and he's all about Buddha books. My kids call all the spiritual books Buddha books. And okay, so that was the beginning. Okay, wow, this is interesting. Like, I left Japan to be away from Buddhism, and here he is, all about Buddha. That was my first, encounter of like, okay, so he's actually nice. So I guess Buddhism is not too bad. Well, that didn't, go much farther, and so he wanted to move to Eugene to be with his family, but mainly wanted to study under Joel. And so, okay, I have to move because of this poncho dude. He showed me Joel's, book with the poncho image. I'm like, oh, wow, really? But I knew my in-laws gonna be there, and so I just trusted universe going to guide me. And so here I am, started, and Fred was my wonderful, wonderful foundation teacher. Well, that wasn't enough, obviously. God had to break my legs. Break my legs, and literally 3 bones. And who would be the one to slip at the 9-day silent meditation? It's not that exciting to say, oh, what happened? Oh, well, I failed at the meditation retreat. And people think, oh, what kind of meditation retreat is that? Well, it would have been cooler if I fell at the, if I got into car accident when I was skiing, downhill skiing. That sounds kind of dangerous and sounds cooler rather than silent meditation retreat. But that's what happened to me, and ended up being longer retreat. And the next thing I wanted to bring it up, third point, is feel your body. Feel your body. Use this treasure as just way to alleviate suffering. I think we emphasize so much on our mind, our thoughts, that there's major separation and tendency to leave body out. And I learned to notice my thoughts, but this has been neglected. And I struggle with disassociation. Because of my childhood experience, that I basically learned to separate my body and sort of hang out here. So when things are difficult, that I don't have to feel that extreme discomfort and pain. And that sort of was okay, but once I really wanted to be good at meditation and be able to watch my thought, it was difficult because my mind would just go disassociate, and I just can't watch my thought. When I'm dysregulated and I'm on freeze, there's no way I would come down and feel my body and notice my sensation. I just couldn't do that. And it took me many years to realize that was what's going on with myself. And it was like, wow, I'm so messed up case. But once I realized, okay, I need to do something about this, and I did take the training on trauma release, and so I learned to ground using the grounding practice, and then also I did the resourcing, and that regulated my nervous system. So finally, I wouldn't go off to disassociation or the fleas and just totally withdraw from what's going on. I start to feel my body. And after 1 month of practicing that, it just started to shift. And so I could actually watch my thought. And so, for me, that was one of the study the self that Dogen Zenji talks about, and I wanted to read this whole quote because it is something that I think everybody likes, and I think it is very important. So Zen Master Dogen says, to study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be actualized by myriad things. When actualized by myriad things, your body and mind, as well as the bodies and mind of others, drop away. No trace of enlightenment remains, and this no trace continues endlessly. So I had to discover what I was doing, and I was disassociating to study the self. This Hiromi, small self, Hiromi, suffering so much with intense ankle pain that I had this assumption, well, I did the childbirth twice, that this won't be that bad. Well, bone fracture hurts. And I'm sure even you did childbirth or some very difficult things, the pain is intense. So it's just use what you got right now. You don't need to go out there to do anything. It's just everything inside of you. It's everything. This is your treasure house that it's inside. So that's what I did, and learned to feel my body. Remember that I mentioned feel your body, and it's by practicing just, okay, I'm standing in the kitchen just cooking for my family. Well, I'm a little tense. I just check my body and see. Well, I'm sort of tense because I wanted to be done cooking, be able to eat at 6:30. And then I'm just a little bit tense. So, okay, well, so what? Like, I'm not having the guest over at 6:30, so it's okay. It's just simple thing like that. I'm just about to make a, complaints call for Comcast. I'm a little bit irritated and tense already. Those, it's just like, why? It's just nature of this life, that modern life, that we just need to do these things. But I don't need to be tense, And so learn to feel my body and just like recognize, oh, it's tense. Okay, I could just take a 3 breaths, and then I'm good. So it's really important to include your body, because my touch teacher, Georgia Mellon, says what's stored in the body is the last to leave. So your memory or the sensation or the energy, just all those things kind of stored in your body is the last to leave. You can self-liberate your thought much quicker, but what's in your body takes more attending. So I highly recommend use your body to release what is in you. And the fourth key for being with the illness or injury is follow your bliss. This is a famous quote by Joseph Campbell. This is one of the important phrases in my life. My husband, Matt, has always been telling me when I was looking for something, he'll say, follow your bliss. It's so general that, like, what do you mean? But that's for you to discover. Okay, what's my bliss? What's my joy? What gives me joy and peace? So when I got injured, the first thing I discovered was all my fun was in the woods. Just hiking, taking dog out, just going to places. It was all outside, involved my walking feet. It was very difficult for me to accept that fact. And that was what we did as a family too. So I, by myself being sick, got injured, I changed the whole family dynamics, whole family leisure. And so it was very difficult to be with. But then, okay, I'm not gonna just mope and be depressed. Luckily, I had Annie, our center teacher, Annie. She taught me 3 chords of ukulele. So I was already playing ukulele, and this was a wonderful opportunity for me to get better at ukulele, not just playing "You're My Sunshine." It's like I was so grateful she didn't teach me "Mary Had a Little Lamb." I was so not going to like that. So she taught me not Mary Had a Little Lamb, "You're My Sunshine," but I wanted to move on, and this was a great opportunity. So I took on ukulele playing, and when I did that, I told myself, I'm going to experiment and see if I could cultivate the loving and kind relationship with this instrument. I'm going to show off my ukulele, my love, red. So with this, of course, I had to get fun straps, so it'll be fun for my eyes. And I told myself I will not judge. I came from very harsh background on criticizing, comparison, and all that. And instantly I thought, oh, I'm not a musician, really. Well, how could I do string? Well, I noticed that and let go, and I told myself, well, if you are the first, if you are a beginner and you just touch the ukulele, you won't be asking, playing, ukulele like, what's his name, the famous guy, Jake Shimabukuro. He's an amazing ukulele player. Oh my gosh. Well, of course I won't be playing like that. And I had to basically cultivate this relationship. I'm not going to judge. I'm going to just walk slowly and enjoy. Enjoy each step of learning G, C, A minor, F, all those four chords that is just sound of joy. This made a difference. And so I got to really experience what it means to cultivate loving and nourishing relationship just with that instrument. And that led me to, oh, maybe I don't mind singing. Maybe I'll just take on singing. And that was actually fun. And I realized that's a whole another skill to be able to sing and play at the same time. And I really, once I started doing this, I was so appreciative of all the musicians who can do this and make it look effortless. I mean, it's like Arunavis there is just incredible. And like, wow, I never thought how difficult that is. I mean, maybe some people it's not that difficult, but it was difficult for me to really coordinate. And so I took on singing, and then I thought, well, if I'm gonna do this, well, why not like songwriting? It would be cool that if I could write my own song. So I decided to write a song and express what I'm feeling at that moment. What came out was all my kids call it hurt song. It's like, of course, I was going through this injury and limitation. So the first part of all my songs, the first couple years of my songwriting that I did was all hurt song. It was just pain, how long this is gonna last, and is this all imaginary, just all really sad and painful songs. But as I do this, I was complaining to my friend. She goes, "Oh, Hiromi, just continue to write what comes through you, and just imagine when you purge all your hurt, what might come through you then." That's a whole another, dimension of songwriting. You don't have to control it. Let it just come through you, and that's okay. You might have a hurt song CD, And I thought, yeah, why not? So not taking myself seriously and not criticizing, just that really helped me try out new things, like singing and songwriting. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm doing this in English as a second language. And so I write, and then I ask Matt, does it make sense? And he goes, this is a little bit, like, not quite, grammar is right, but we don't say it that way. Oh my gosh, English is so interesting in that sense. Like, I always love the sound of I love you, right? it's such a wonderful, romantic, and warm, buzzy phrase, I love you. But, oh man, there's those little detail of rules that is not in grammar. And so it's been fun, like, okay, I guess you won't say it this way, I'll change. And it's been fun to do this. And I think it being creative and taking this as something that I can do while I'm recovering was giving me major nourishment. Nourishment I needed. I learned to mother myself. I have never given myself that much of care, ever, sadly. And so it was a wonderful opportunity for me. And it's, songwriting became part of my life, and because you write all your pain. I even took songwriting class. It was amazing. I loved it because I wasn't expecting myself to write some amazing song like David Gilmour would. I'm just gonna learn the basics and see what they have to teach me. And it was fun because you write your pain and then you will erase it and come up with better way to describe it, and you get to play with rhyming. Oh, I had no idea that aspect of English, rhyming. Like it was just a whole new candies to add to my candy bag. And so it took, that was such a powerful healing practice for me because I would write. When you write, you really have to kind of sense in what's going on. Kind of like when you write poetry or haiku, you really think, right? When you write, you kind of see what's going on so you can describe it. And not always like typical, language, but what you feel is so unique because you are your own special snowflakes, right? So by doing that, I had a lot of release as I write my songs. And then by singing, I'm using my vocal cord to really release that intense energy in my body. So by singing, I release a lot. So this whole thing that I took on, Follow My Bliss, became one of the powerful practice. And my life became amazing garden of creation. And I took on, I always killed houseplants. People wanted to give me bonsai, and I'm telling you, I think I killed all of them. I mean, bonsai is, of course, it's a whole another difficult thing within the plant, caring, and I killed all. I killed the plants that somebody said, oh, you can't kill this. I was successfully killed up plants and dried up or kind of mildewy and just went all like that. And so when I bought one plant from Trader Joe's and decided, I'm just going to see if I could keep this plant. And it was kind of became a new relationship to nurture. I'm helping nurturing this plant. And I was able to keep it up for a whole year. I mean, when the first months came and 3 months came, and I was like, wow! It's not like I got, I won the lottery, but I was amazed by paying attention and just watering and giving a little, spikes, and this plant speaks to me and responds to me. And then, of course, Sherry was offering her big plants, and I ventured out to big plant, and I actually kept it alive. I wanted to thank you for that. And it's actually got bigger, repotted 3 times. So see how like nurturing, cultivating, loving, and compassionate relationship venture out to another area and got me really have this openness and willingness to just do what's in my bucket list. The things that I kind of wanted to try, and I got back on calligraphy, but I put it there, and I even tried sumi-e a little bit, and try watercolor. I mean, those are things I would never think of. But having to go through this follow my breath led me to really use this as part of my practice, and it really made me connect with like, wow, there's a whole another culture of doing this. And I had a wonderful mentor. Carla has been my mentor. She'll just say, just play. You're just gonna do this and try. And then I would say, but my shoe, my fancy, expensive paper. And she goes, oh, no worry, we just use a weekly. And it's just perfect size. So she taught me to use weekly so I wouldn't be feeling stingy using my calligraphy paper to make a mess. And I got to play, and that really got me going. It was just simple little tip. Made a huge difference. So I wanted to share one of my hurt songs that I wrote during my recovering process when I lived on my couch. It's called "If I Could," and I'm not going to even attempt to do this by memory. If I could have my right ankle back, I will run like a wind blowing autumn leaves. Sweep everything with a broomstick to give you freedom. I could be the wind that will not blow deceit. If I could be on the top of the mountain again, I'll be the first to witness your pain. Support you with all my being to give you comfort. I could be the solid ground that remains. What if I'm just waiting for someone I will never be? Is everything imaginary? Would it be wishful thinking to hope? Can I live without those things? When will this trouble be over? If I could have my brave heart back again, I won't walk away from a crowded store. Face the look of people with a sense of curiosity. I could be open like a barn door. What if I'm just waiting for someone I will never be? Is everything imaginary? Would it be wishful thinking to hope? Can I live without those things? When will this trouble be over? I am whole with a broken ankle. I can walk again without crutches. I live truly with an open heart. I am enough. Obviously, I didn't perform as a musician. I performed because love moved me. The joy moved me to. So I'm not concerned about how my skill appeared or any of it. I just do this because I feel joy and love, and it was very healing. So that would lead us to last part of this talk. The last part is treasure yourself. I was gifted this word from one of my teachers from Bird Haven Zen Center in Cheshire, Oregon. Kenshin is the teacher there, and when I was struggling with chaplaincy training, because they just make you work really hard, it was definitely inner journey, and it was hard to share your truth. Oh man, it's like you show your whole inner belly. It was so hard. I wanted to look competent. I wanted to look like somebody I just overcome and just became who I am, and did not want to show all my hurts and like anger and pain. But she told me, treasure yourself, Hiromi. And that was one of the traditions she said she shares in her lineage. And I wanted to share that with you today. Because, wow, take care of yourself. It's very, take care. You would say that in English when you say goodbye, right? When you are, leaving here, oh, take care. But it's when you say treasure yourself, there's more than take care. And when you are injured, or when you are ill, or being with somebody who's really ill, what you need is love. What you need is nourishment, just kindness, as much as you could possibly offer to yourself or to your loved ones. And I'm one of those people, I'll suck it up. Suck it up and just get on with it. This is America, you have to look competent. But well, that wouldn't do. Obviously, that really helped me, get up here, just to be here and practice over and over. So how do you treasure yourself? Is shower yourself with love, nourishment, kind words, accept your limit with compassion. That was my another word that I was given from Roshi Joan Halifax when I was told come back some other time for my lay ministry ordination, when I told her that I was sick. And she said, well, good chaplain will, take care of yourself. And may you accept your limit with compassion. Ugh. After she told me that, there's nothing I can do but to really nourish myself. And that was how I decided to just nourish myself in this process. I had a flu and I couldn't go, so I stayed in bed and read the homework book, and boom, then I put everything in one basket and I had openings. So, we take injury or illness or sickness, death, grief, everything as something that I hope it doesn't come to me, but this is what makes us part of this human life, human being. And those are full of love spark, as Kabbalists would say. And within it, full of Buddha nature. And I wanted to share Zen teacher Joanna Macy. This is what she said. It is my experience that the world itself has a role to play in our liberation. Its very pressures, pain, and risk can wake us up, release us from the bond of ego and guide us home to our vast true nature. That's by Joanna Macy. It's from World as a Lover, World as Self, that book. And I got to really experience this. And so whatever you can, when you are just feeling really, haunted by memory of whatever happened to you in the past, or you just had a bad argument with your spouse, or you just had, whatever, that use that, including your experience. The love is in that experience, even though it appears as some challenge. And by taking refuge in Dharma, this spiritual teaching, that will help us to reconcile with this messiness of human life. I like that word, reconcile, because it is true that no matter what you do, it's like things happen. I just spilled coffee I just poured. Just very minor things like spilling coffee to, I got in a car accident and, the lady who hit me just drove off. And it felt so abandoned. That kind of thing happened. And I cannot just control what happens in my life and keep coming back here, keep coming to practice. Use your practice. And if you haven't give yourself opportunity to really, really practice, I recommend whatever you are experiencing right now to see what Joel's saying is true. What is happening is really, you could discover the teaching in your own direct experience. Like I used to think, okay, I need to read more Buddha books. There's lots of books at the library. I need to read a lot of it. And then maybe I maybe line up with everybody else. But it's not the acquiring of the knowledge. It's really seeing what you experience, and within it you find the openings. And so this is my realization that I shared last time also. This is Ananda Maima. I did the I was given an opportunity to lead a spring retreat back in April and got to do chanting. And it was so much fun because short and I could memorize it too. I had fear of memorization. That's part of my fear. Oh, I have to look at my lyrics. I can't sing without looking at it. But chanting is so short. And so I thought, hey, making chant is shorter than songwriting. And I had so many quotes from that I gathered for the retreat. And I decided, well, why don't I make my own chanting? And I thought, well, no, Mystic already came up with excellent, awesome, chords. So I'm gonna use that and put music on it. So that's what I did. So here it is. This is Ananda Maima. And then I totally agree with her. That was so satisfying to say. Like, she's so saint and out there, and here I am over there, but, Ooh, I think I'm sorry. So hopefully when I first played a song, it wasn't so off. But hey, I'm an amateur, so I don't care. Here we go. I realized the universe was all my own manifestation. I realized the universe was all my own manifestation. I realized the universe was all my own manifestation. I realized the universe was all my own manifestation. I realized the universe was all my own manifestation. Okay, so that was what I had, and do you have any comments or questions?
I love what you said about having an intimate relationship or loving relationship with the musical instrument. And so I had always wanted to play cello, just to hold a cello. It was on my bucket list. So one day we were down at Sweet Life Bakery and went for a walk around the block, and there was a music store. And I walked in and I said, "Do you rent cello?" And they said, "Yes." And it was actually just a small fee for a month. So I took home the cello, this beautiful instrument. And I didn't really want to learn how to play, not really. I just wanted to play, to hold. And so, and just to see, like newborn, just to see what would happen. It was so beautiful. So then I took it back at the end of the time, and the next I got a viola. But I didn't like this position much, so I took it back. Now I have clarinet. So I'm just like loving the instruments, something I always wanted, and it just enriches my heart. Yeah.
So one for example of just trying out, I did try mandolin, but when I was doing, my kids are little and they would just like start to pluck when I'm still learning how to, and it was just too much work and I gave that up, and I've been wanting to, of course I'm easily influenced and watching, Jake Shimabukuro, and it's like, wow, that's awesome. And I love that light sound that ukulele makes, and it's just happy. and I have a tend to, be judgmental and anger, and so I thought, okay, I'll just try this, the light and small, and I'm kind of small, so guitar is like I'm kind of climbing up on the guitar, and traded in mandolin, and I got ukulele, and it's been wonderful. So yeah, never stop, and if it's an instrument or poetry or cooking or whatever you take on, just be open and follow what your heart want. I think that's definitely the key.
Yeah, I found the last part of your talk just really inspiring. And I have just been taking Mary Song's writing class, and the discipline. She has us writing 10 minutes a day with little starters that she gives us. And I was on the bus to Seattle going to the memorial service of a former business partner there, and this fellow was really an inspiration. We worked together for 12 years, and his wife and Wesley and I, we did a lot of things together, but having had Mary Song's class for a week or two at that point, I thought I should write a poem for Dawn. And but she wasn't teaching us how to write poems, but I have read a few. So I just started writing, and I did that before I did that day's work. I was on a boat bus, and they have Wi-Fi,
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot my clipboard. And I found I could use my phone, which I've been using this morning to take notes so I could share with Wesley. But it gave me the opportunity to think over this fellow's life and what I really valued about him. And it was just a wonderful experience. And I'm realizing as you talk about all the different things you've been trying, that there's real value in just, as your last song said, manifesting what you know to be truth for you. It's really important, and I hadn't realized that. I'm reading all these mystics, things that Annie gives me as assignments. I'm taking it all in, and I've gone through a stage of really being mad at them for the way they contradict themselves, it seems. But the opportunity to express what I know in creative form is, it's a new discovery. It's fabulous.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's such a gift.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for sharing. It's so don't stop yourself, if something really resonates with you, notice your judgment and just, yep, I heard you, and, still go on. And you have to just not be, obedient to your thoughts in that sense. Yeah, so that's wonderful.
I just want to say I appreciate that you said having kindness and tenderness and love for your own mind, and that is, thank you for that, and also treasuring oneself.
Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, it's one of the hard practice, I think. We, at least for me, I'm easily judge myself, and so it's like I have to first notice, like I have to just kind of pause and notice, and once you can kind of drop that, it's so much more openings and opportunities and possibilities. Yes, we try.
Excuse me, I love the part about treasure yourself. I love the whole thing. The whole thing was beautiful. And I do, for so many years, I always spoke mean to myself, cruelly, and so strict, and so judgmental. And now I have a support group for women called Loving Our Bodies, Loving Ourselves. And by the way, who are we? But since that, since really starting to do inquiry and coming into the body, I've started calling myself my darling when I find that I'm being mean, and cruel to myself. And it's just transforming. It's such a softening practice when I'm feeling bad to say, of course, my darling, you're feeling sad, Of course, you're hurting, you're angry. And there's different names we can call ourselves, but I think it's really wonderful to find a name like that. And so often it's the little child that shows up, it's that little girl that was hurt, that gets triggered there. But anyway, I want to share that.
That's wonderful. I think it's a wonderful to come up with, phrase like that, and you could just come up with your own. And I used to say, of course you feel this way. Of course you feel this way. Because I would just always think, well, you shouldn't be feeling this way. It's my go-to. So by saying, of course you feel this way, you can kind of accept whatever you're feeling. That, Joe talks about in his book as well, that energy itself is fine. Nothing wrong with you having anger. Nothing wrong with you feeling grief. Nothing wrong with all those. But how we, from there, how we grasp on to resist, and those are the, cause of suffering. So I think having to say, of course, my darling. It's just instantly you just kind of soften and melt. So I think that's a wonderful, wonderful practice. Thank you for sharing. Okay. We could finish it up and enjoy the sunshine outside. And thank you for being here. And is there an announcement? I think we did the announcement in the morning. So, okay. Until we see you, peace be with you.